Hi, welcome to my garden. Thanks for joining me today. Let's talk about 10 free DK weight knitting patterns that are great to give for gifts this gift season. Let's go have a chat over by the daisies. I'll meet you there. All right, we are going to cover all the bases. Head, shoulders, fingies and toes. Maybe not knees today, but starting with the head. I have 2 free knitting patterns that I found on Ravelry for DK weight yarn, and they are currently on Ravelry. This is July of 2025. So at this moment, they are free. You can find the bundle on my Ravelry. It is KatieBugKnit. I have recently changed my profiles and my names on social media to try to make it easier to find me. So now my sewing channel on YouTube is KatieBugSews, and my knitting channel on YouTube is KatieBugKnit. And my Ravelry is KatieBugKnit. And I have another Ravelry KatieBug pod that I had before I knew if I could change my original OG Ravelry account. But I was able to change the name, and now it fits, and now I'm easier to find. I also have Instagram. You can find me on Instagram as KatieBugKnits, and I'm also on Instagram as KatieBugSews because that's kind of my OG account. It used to be Katie Crafty Mom. If you have followed me for a long time, but I wanted to keep it all cohesive, so that's why I changed my name in a few different places, just to try to make it easier for people to find me. Some of those older accounts I've had for a long time and have a lot of content there, and so I don't want to lose that account and start over fresh. That's just basically why that is there, in case you needed to know. So today we are going to talk about 10 free knitting patterns that are DK weight yarn, and these are all great ideas for gift knitting. So if you're like me and you've got the bug to start making Christmas in July, I just like to get ahead and know that I already have stuff done when there's not near as much pressure. Come the fall, I'm going to want to be knitting things for myself. So if I have gifts already kind of planned ahead of time, then that's less pressure of gift knitting later and more fall knitting for me. So this first hat is the Easy Ombre Slouch hat, and it's by Paul S. Neary. And the rating for it is 4.7 stars. And this is just a fun colorwork pattern that I thought looked really nice. This comes in one size, so it pretty much looks like an adult size. It says it's 22 inches in circumference. The gauge is 5.5 stitches for 1 inch of stockinette. The needle size is a US 6 or a 4mm needle. The yardage you're going to use is about 218 yards or 199 meters. This pattern was published in August of 2014, and there are currently 2,931 projects on Ravelry. So if you want to see some other people that have knit up in different colorways, this is a great project for that. It looks like a relatively easy knit for color work. There is a chart on the pattern that will help with your color work. And it looks a little like, it's not mosaic knitting, it is color work, but it kind of has that feel to me. I say it looks fairly simple and it has a lot of projects on Ravelry, so that's a good sign. All right, moving on to the second pattern, and this is a hat pattern. I have two DK weight hat patterns, so this is the second one. So my first hat was color work, and the second hat is cables. So we're keeping it interesting. Obviously, a great just stockinette knitted hat is a great gift, but I was just trying to give you some different options, ones you might not have seen before. This hat is called it's called Balloons Hat. It's by Romy Dame Lalata. There are only 18 projects on Ravelry. It was put out in 2021, so I just think people might not have seen it yet, because when I come down to the ratings, it's a 5.0 rating, and it says that on average, it doesn't have a very hard difficulty level. I just thought it was really pretty. The cables are really pretty, and I'm really anxious to try this one. I have somebody in mind that would really love this project. This is DK weight again. Fits a head from 55 to 60 centimeters or 21 to 23 inches. For the needle size, it has US 4 or 3.5 millimeters and a US 6 or 4.0 millimeters. Yardage is 144 to 241 yards or 132 to 220 meters. There is a chart on the last page of the pattern, so that can help with anybody that loves to follow charts. I prefer a chart. I like to see that. I don't know what it is about visual. It helps me understand a pattern better. So anytime there's a chart included, maybe that's because I did crochet first, and I definitely prefer having charts with crochet. It looks like there are written instructions as well. It's not just a chart. And in the pattern, it does have about 6 pictures that kind of show you how to do that cable that she's doing. She crosses 5 stitches is what it looks like, and she does have some pictures on the pattern to kind of help you walk through it. So it looks like it's probably a great pattern. I'm kind of anxious to knit that one up. I think that will be a great gift. All right, that's my 2 hat patterns. Now let's move on to shoulders. For my first shoulder pattern, it is a shawl, and this shawl is called Stalwart. Okay, this is by Michelle Steed, and let's look at the ratings here. It has a 4.5 rating, and there are 79 projects on Ravelry. Sizes available are 66 by 22 inches or 168 by 56 centimeters. The gauge is 14 stitches and 22 rows for a standard 4-inch gauge swatch. The needle size is a US 8 or a 5 millimeter needle. The yardage is 460 yards or 421 meters. Published in 2020. And this looks like a beautiful pattern. This looks like a relatively easy pattern. And I think that this would be a great gift for someone in my life. So that's on my list to knit up. For my second shoulders pattern, for the second one for your shoulders is another shawl. And this shawl is called A Random Act of Kindness by Nat Reedwolf. And she has a website, and that website is wolfandfawn.com, like the doe. So this pattern, it was published in 2018. Let's look at the rating. The rating is 4.9. And there are 123 projects on Ravelry. This is, again, it's a DK weight pattern. It's one size, so it is 38 centimeters or 15 inches deep with a wingspan of 241 centimeters or 95 inches. The gauge is 15 stitches and 36 rows for a 4-inch gauge swatch. The needle size is a US 7 or a 4.5 millimeter needle. All right, let's look at this pattern. It's a free Ravelry download. I love those. So what I do with these is I click on the download, I download the PDF, and because I'm working on my iPhone, I push the little button right down here to share it. Oh, I don't want to show you who all I have on my phone, but I can share it to the Books app, and then it pulls up in my book library, and there I have all of my knitting patterns. So if I don't have access to my Ravelry account, if I get signed out, can't remember the password, in a pinch, I can pull up my library in my books app on my iPhone, and it's just right there. It's also just a lot easier to read and follow the patterns that way. And then it's really easy to scroll through your patterns as well. Okay, that's our little side tangent. Head, shoulders, and we're switching up the lyrics. We're calling it fingies, not knees. Head, shoulders, fingies, and toes. So for our fingers, the first pattern I'm going to share is called Point Edwards Mitts, and this is by Fairlight Fibers. The rating is 4.8. It looks like a fairly easy rating as far as like difficulty wise. There are 1,753 projects on Ravelry, so a few people have made this already, so that's nice to know. It is one size, so it looks like a standard adult size. The gauge is 11 stitches for 2 inches of stockinette. The needle size is a US 4 or a 3.5 millimeter needle. The yardage is 190 to 200 yards or 174 to 183 meters. So the fun thing about this pattern is because the ribbing is folded over, you can extend it if it's a really cold day and you need to warm up your hands, but then you can pull it down when you need to access technology. So I think that is a really cool feature. I think that would be very handy for a gift knit, because then you're giving your recipient a few different options of how to wear their fingerless gloves. The second project is somewhat similar, but this is not fingerless. This is just mittens. But these are so cute. They're called the Evanesce Mittens, and they're by Virginia Cosgriff. These are adorable. Goes along with the fading techniques that we've all loved. I mean, I still haven't tried it, but I have plans to do a lot of fading. So this is DK weight, but the way she gets it is she uses 2 fingering weight yarns. So honestly, it makes it a great scrappy project as well. So your ratings for this pattern are a 4.8 rating. And the projects, there are 32 projects on Ravelry currently. This pattern was published in 2021. It is just one size, so it's just an adult. The gauge is 11 stitches in 16 rows in a 2-inch stockinette. The needle size is a US 3 or 3.25 millimeter or and a US 5 3.75 millimeter. The yardage for this project is 328 to 394 yards or 300 to 360 meters. So this pattern is kind of interesting. It's not necessarily charted, but she definitely walks you through each row of the mitten so that you can get the color changes right. We did head, shoulders, fingies, and now we're going to go to toes. Socks. I mean socks. Everybody loves a gifted sock. And when you knit them in DK weight yarn, you can really get them off the needles quickly. So that, I love gifting DK weight socks, especially in the winter, because people are wearing socks in the house a lot more. I don't know about you guys, but I love wearing my knitted socks to bed, so maybe my recipients will as well. So our first one is a very vanilla knit. You just need some basic vanilla knits in your arsenal. I mean, when you have so many beautiful striped yarns, sometimes you need to really show those off with just a plain stockinette. So this pattern is the DK weight vanilla socks, and they're by the Crazy Sock Lady Designs. The rating is a 4.9 rating. Average difficulty is fairly easy. And yeah, this is probably the one that has the most projects so far. And that is 8,108 projects on Ravelry. You may already have this one in your library, but this is just a great workhorse pattern. It is a cuff down, heel flap and gusset, Kitchener toe. This is my classic favorite. This is how I like to knit socks every time. So the sizes available are small, medium, large. So this is an adult size sock. The pattern came out in 2021. The gauge is 7 stitches to 1 inch stockinette. The needle size is a US 3 or a 3.25 millimeter. The yardage is 200 to 245 yards or 183 to 224 meters. I have a skein of Freckled Whimsy DK weight yarn that's self-striping that need to be made into a pair of socks, and they would be a great gift to do this pattern with. So I think that will be on my list for Christmas knits. For the second pattern for our toes is another sock pattern, and I'm sure this is one you guys have heard. It's actually got more projects than the last one. I guess we just like knitting our socks, guys. We just really do. This is a pattern I have seen and have been wanting to do. It is the Blueberry Waffle Socks. These are by Sandy Turner, and the overall rating is a 4.6 rating, and there are 9,291 projects on Ravelry. So there's a lot of projects to look at, and look through and peruse. The gauge is 22 stitches and 28 rows for a standard 4-inch stockinette. The needle size is a US 5 or 3.75 millimeters. The yardage is 280 to 330 yards or 256 to 302 meters. The size available is an adult medium. I'm sure you could get a little bit different gauge and kind of change the size a little bit. The waffle pattern is a 4-row repeat. This is one I'm very excited to try. If this is one you've already knit up, you can let me know in the comments that you've already got on the bandwagon and you've already been there. So this pattern has been around since, oh wait, this pattern was published in 1998. Wow. So on the Ravelry listing, it says there are variations available to change the gauge of the pattern. I've made the socks in several different weights from fingering to worsted. Listed as ribbed waffle socks pattern on the Knitting on the Net website. And for more information, it gives another archive. So, okay, I have two more patterns. They don't fit with the niche head, shoulders, fingies, and toes. These are just random Christmas gift knit ideas. So I have one of them is an ornament, and it's a Christmas stocking ornament by Mare Allison. And these are so cute. You could do a little bunting with these and make a cute little banner for decorations. I just got a great idea. You could knit these up and give gift cards. See if a gift card, I'm going to knit one of these up and see if a gift card fits in there, because that would be a really cute little Christmas gift. Okay, so let's see. It has a 4.6 rating on Ravelry, and there are 20 projects currently. It says under sizes, it just says adjustable depending on what weight yarn you're using. So you can use different yarns. You'll get a different gauge on here. They just suggest using a DK weight yarn and a needle size of a US 6 or a 4mm needle. Yardage could be anywhere from 66 to 82 yards or 60 to 75 meters. So this is another good stash buster. This pattern was published in 2021, and they just look really cute. I definitely have to knit these on DPNs, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I do have these little Addy Flexi ones, so I probably would use those. I have one more pattern to bring you guys, and this is a pattern that I just thought was kind of fun, and I think this would be something really nice to gift for someone you just aren't sure what to get them, or you don't know their size. This is the Farmer's Market Tote, and it's by Kara McKinley. This has a 4.7 rating on Ravelry, and there are 44 projects. It was published in 2021. It is one size, so the size is 12 inches wide by 15 inches tall by 5 inches deep. This just looks like a fun little bag. I love the stitch pattern too. The gauge is 24 stitches and 48 rows for a 4-inch garter stitch swatch. The needle sizes are a US 5 or a 3.75 millimeter and a US 9 or a 3.75 millimeter. The yardage is 375 yards or 343 meters. Now, I looked at some of the other projects on Ravelry, and some people did go ahead and make the handle a little bit longer, so it'd be more of a shoulder bag. I like the way that it looks just as a little hand carrying bag. This would just be nice for me to carry around, but I thought this would be a great gift. So I hope this gives you some inspiration as you get excited and for all the gift giving in the coming seasons. I absolutely love gifting things that are handmade. I think I have always loved it since I was a kid. You can ask my family. They have received many handmade gifts in the past, not always lovely ones. I just love making things and giving them away. And chances are, if you're watching this, you probably do too. So I hope this video gave you some ideas for your gift giving plans. Let me know in the comments if there's any pattern that you absolutely loved, or that you've knit before, or that you're planning on gifting and knitting. And as always, happy knitting, guys. See you next time. Bye.